Hello, headphone mixers. My name is Paul Third, and that gentleman across from me is Emrah Celik, an award-winning mix and mastering engineer with over 3 billion streams to his name, with 90% of those coming from headphones. This week, we have a very interesting headphone to review. We have the FIIO FT7, a very large planar magnetic headphone. We all love planar magnetic headphones. Yes, Emrah's got it there. It is retailing for around £600, around $600. So again, it's not cheap. It is made from carbon fibre. So again, it's a very good build. And the headband is very good. It's around 500 grams. But the good thing is with it being carbon fibre, it doesn't actually feel that weighty, in my personal opinion. And in regards to comfort, the clamp force is pretty light as well, which is good as well. The only thing that I'm not entirely happy with in regards to the build is the headband adjustment. As you can see it right here, it's a bit like that stiff. So when you're trying to get, like, as you can see, I'm struggling with it already. When you're trying, the best way to do it is to try and like have your finger in both ways and try and bring it down. But yeah, it could be like just a little bit stiff. Like when you first get it, honestly, I couldn't move these. Emrah, I thought I was going to break it. I was like, how did I adjust this headband? It was that stiff. So from a build point of view, it's the only thing I don't like. But yeah, this isn't going to break on you. In terms of what's this? This is the yoke, isn't it, Emrah? That's what they call it, this part here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the yoke is, kind of held together, but kind of like a screw either side. It's got decent action, but my concern, Emrah, is that, like, if I was to, I feel like it would snap a little bit if I was just to push it enough. So the swivel isn't full, but you would need to be pretty barbarian to kind of snap it. But it kind of jumps back into place pretty well. In regards to the pads, you have two different sets of pads. You have the fabric pads that we are using.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
It's relatively easy to exchange, from
So you've
leather.
You've got the fabric and you've got the kind of the leather kind of lambskin or whatever it's called. But yeah, as Emrah said, they are very easy to replace, which is a good part of the build, because some headphones can be quite difficult to change pads on. It can be quite fiddly. Really do like the wood kind of exterior to it. It's a very good looking headphone, Emrah, isn't it? Like a very, very good headphone. Like looking wise,
yeah, it looks pretty premium. It's just it looks like very high tech as well.
Yeah. Now, what you will notice is that this is very large. So, Emrah, what size of driver is this? The diaphragm, I should say.
It's 106 millimeters. It's one of the largest planar magnet on the planet.
It's a big beast. It's a big beast.
It's a big guy.
No, which is obviously why
it
has quite a big carry case for it. So this is the carry case that comes with it. Again, quite high quality. It's got the all the compartments for you. It's got your adapters here. Now, what are the adapters for? The adapters are for the cable. So the cable is a 4.4 mil cable, balance cable. But the good thing is it does come with adapters, so you can just stick adapters on there. Yep. As you can see there's the TRS adapter, perfect, so you can connect it to various headphone amps. The only issue is it is 3 meters long, and as you can see, look at the mess of it already. Emrah's is all tidy, because that's Emrah. Me, I've had this in my bag, and look at it, it's just a mess. It's like a messy snake.
It's heavy as well.
Yeah, it's heavy as well.
Yeah.
So on paper, it's like a very good cable. However, it's very stiff and it's very long. And my topping is genuinely, like, my topping stack is in touching distance right there. I don't need this length, and I hate, especially I've got dyspraxia, which means I bump into stuff all the time. My left and right is like all over the shop. So obviously, like with a big long cable, this just gets in my way. So yeah, it's a very high quality cable, but yeah, it's not one that I would use. Me and Emrah actually recommend the cable that comes with the FT1 or FT1 Pro more, as you can see there. Would you believe it? The cheaper headphone, and we advise the cheaper cable. So yeah, that's really the only downside, I would say, kind of out the box aesthetically, comfort and build. I'd say those are the upsides and those are the downsides, being the cable and being the headband adjustment. In regards to drivability, obviously it's a planar magnetic headphone, so you are going to need a headphone amp to drive this in regards to get its micro details. If you're unsure about why you need a headphone amp and you're a little bit naive about the whole thing, check out a video that we've made already talking all about headphone amps, why you need it, how it works, how to connect it, blah, 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 and I'll leave a link in the description. Now, in regards to the drivability, Emrah, compared to other headphones that you've tried, would you say it's a relatively easy to drive planar or quite a hungry planar?
Yeah, it's about same as ARRI Organics.
Okay.
It's relatively easier to drive. They shine with better amps, powerful amps.
Yeah. Now, one of the reasons why they shine with a better amp is because they do have a lot of micro details, which brings us to the tonality side of it. If you look at the frequency response, you will notice that the stock, so it would be like the leather pads, they are quite bright. And for me and Emrah, stock, it was very, very bright, which is why we decided to go with the fabric pads, as they are a little bit duller in the top end, and it just overall sounds better, less harsh, especially to me that's very, very sensitive in the top end. So these for me just make the headphone tonally more correct, and it just kind of dulls the kind of very top end brightness of it. Emrah, how about I give you the floor and you talk a little bit about how you feel about the stock frequency response of the headphones?
Yeah, the stock tuning is more like, optimum hi-fi.
Yeah, totally.
It's hi-fi headphones. Yeah, as you said, it's bright, but that brightness is coming from like ultra detailed resolution.
Yeah.
It's not ear-piercing brightness, like disturbing brightness. They don't sound like they are dynamic brightness, like ear-piercing. Tesla drivers. That brightness is coming from the ultra-resolution details from the gold planar magnet, gold-plated magnet drivers. It's very hard to tame that brightness, but you just have to use just some slight high shelf with fabric pads, and that's good enough. These are scary detailed in case of tonality. They need EQ to be worked as to be used as studio headphones. But once you done it, I mixed on them and I shared on the Discord, and they translate perfectly fine. But let's talk about EQ handling, because we already talked about driver type and tonality. Mm-hmm. And I would like to discuss about EQ handling, because these bad boys can handle EQ extremely well. So you can boost low end like 8 dB without causing any, it's like muddying the mid range and high end and stuff like that. Once you add like 5 dB low shelf from 60 hertz or 70 hertz, and take down that just slightly the edge of the high end, high shelf, a few dB, you have extremely good tonality. But the detail monsters thing can be a problem for people like you, very sensitive to sometimes you have hard time focusing on stuff like that with these headphones, right? These kind of headphones.
Yeah. The reason that I struggle a lot is due to my autism. So I didn't know whether to talk about it or not. But the reality is, I have autism, and for many people do have auditory sensitivities. Now, what I find is that I'm very sensitive, not sensitive in the way where like I hear more high frequencies than other people. Like again, I'm in my mid-30s. I can go up to, it's around, I think I cap out around 16, 17K. That's where I cap out. But what my brain does is my brain kind of hyper focuses on the top end a lot. That's one of the reasons as to why my good friend Ed Thorne, I couldn't stand his PSIs. The PSIs were so detailed in the top end. I remember sitting there and he was like, yeah, the top end's great, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it's all I could hear. Like, I could actually hear the crossover. I could actually tell that I'm listening to a separate tweeter. And on all of my speakers, I've always got to turn down the top end. So for me, when you have a very highly detailed headphone in the top end, it bothers me a lot. And the way it bothers me is especially in hi-hats. So in certain references that I have, I'll become very distracted by the top end in the hi-hats. I'll get distracted by a lot of the social cues, a lot of the upper end transients. And what it does is that, and from a balance perspective, I want to tame it all. So for me, my counter translation would be I'd be dulling mixes that don't need to be dulled. So yeah, for me, they're just too detailed, and it's too much of a good thing. It's funny because when we spoke about the HE1000 SEs, how sometimes having too much of a good thing in terms of your translation could be a little bit difficult. And yeah, the FT7 is just too airy, too detailed. The timbre really good in it, like very, very, very good in it. But from a tonality point of view, if you check me and Emrah's EQs, like when Emrah first seen the top end I was taking out, he was like, "Whoa, bro, why are you taking out so much top end?" And I was like, "Because it's distracting me. Like my references are not aligning to my other references. They're not aligning to my speakers. They're not aligning to other headphones I have. It's just I just keep on focusing on the top end." So for some people, again, maybe like people like Ed, for example, drummers, DJs, that have maybe kind of lost their top end hearing over the years, maybe like an airy headphone like this.
Are you calling me an old dude, old guy? Because I'm 46? because I can hear the top end? Is that so?
You can hear it, it's just you're not as sensitive as me. It doesn't bother you as much. But again, Emrah's, we're having a joke, right? But look, I'm actually in the same, as seeing the ear gain region, the pin gain, I should say. Ear gains normally say around 3 to 4, but the pin gain around 1 to 2K, I'm very sensitive to that as well, because these are very detailed headphones in regards to their micro details. They're not as detailed as the Ananda Nanos, they're not as detailed as even the R70XA. They've not got that kind of really big speed, but they are quite detailed. Enough. I'd say they're detailed enough. For £700, I'd say they're probably at their price point in regards to their micro details. Would you say, Emrah, that the micro details are better than the organics, or would you say they're on a comparative level there?
I have to say that these have one of the best transient, accurate transient response.
Yeah, that's one thing you said to me. Realistic, you said to me.
Realistic, very realistic, yeah. Like that's why I call the micro details are pretty accurate, not overly sharp or overly recessed. It's just on point, on point, perfect.
So we've got the tonality side of it, we've got the microdynamic side, detail retrieval. This is going to be where, for me and Emrah, possibly, I'm not sure what Emrah's way to say, but I think where it maybe falls a little bit is the staging. The staging is a little bit too audiophile for my liking. I like my headphones and speakers to sound quite forward. I don't like a stage that's quite set back and recessed. What I said to Emrah, on first listen, and then again after a few weeks later and a few weeks after that, the same thing has always been for me, that the stage of the FT7 is just too recessed for me, where I feel like I'm leaning in to mixes and the vocals aren't really coming forward enough for me. I'd say like that could be very subjective, but one thing that I don't think is subjective, in my personal opinion, is the crossfeed side of it. I do believe that these do need crossfeed, because when you stick them on, the staging and like the whole resolution of it is very immersive. But I was listening to tracks that I know inside and out, and I was like, whoa, okay, that delay shouldn't be ping-ponging like this. That shouldn't be over here. This shouldn't sound as impressive as it should. And it reminded me a lot of the R70XA. But straight away, you're like, this is impressive, but it's not realistic to a pair of speakers. What is your opinion, Emrah, on the imaging and the staging of the headphones? Do you agree with me that they require crossfeed, or do you think you can get away with it?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about imaging. Imaging is okay. Imaging is you heard my mix. Yeah. That was fantastic. Duet imaging. But as you said, soundstage is more like trying to impress you rather than being
correct,
honest with you. That's why it's almost HD 800 wideness that the sound bubble I'm hearing. It's immersive, as you said. But
very immersive, yeah.
That's more like trying to impress you, as I said.
Yes. It's not accurate. It's audiophile. That's audiophile.
Yeah, it's audiophile. If you want to sit down with this and take a bottle of whiskey, not bottle of whiskey, a glass of whiskey. You don't want to drink.
But you could have a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, nobody stops
well
you.
Inclined.
Yeah. And you can listen to music with these. You get lost all the impressive details and the staging and everything. It's just fucking good, bro. But the things I don't like, it's more towards to the low end, because you need really, really high volume to get this thing slam and vibrate. Unlike we get used to from real, planar magnet headphones. They easily, rumble, and they easily vibrate on your head, and you feel the vibration, the bass and stuff like that. But these guys are pretty tight on the low end. And I'm not going to say it's stiff, because if they were stiff, that would be impossible to create some really good transient resolution. But they are maybe a little bit loose, some kind of.
Yeah, I agree.
The low end is like, hanging in the air when you work on them. And you really need to have more volume or more power from your amp to get that stuff, the sub vibrate. So only issue I'm having with these is the low end. And I wish they were slamming easily at 80 dB SPL or something, but I have to go up to 87, 88 dB SPL to get them slam. They slam on a higher volume.
Yeah.
And that's where things get lovely. Low end is lovely and stuff. You don't want to listen to these headphones at very low volume.
Mm.
They are made to be scream at you. Yeah.
Yeah, which is something that you've got to be aware of, and I'm glad Emrah brought that up, because there are certain people that have, tinnitus and, again, don't really like to listen that loud. There are people that just refuse to listen loud. So if you are one of those people that are like, no, I don't want to listen at Paul and Emrah's mixing levels, don't go for these headphones if you really want to mix professionally. Because as Emrah said, translation-wise, you're going to struggle. In his, obviously, experienced opinion. In regards to anybody saying what kind of crossfeed do you recommend on them, again, can opener is a good one. Again, you can use the one in real phones. I would say 60-degree crossfeed for me. Like on the Svarnas and on the LCD MX4s, I can use 90. I quite like 90 degrees with real phones crossfeed. But with those, it's a full 60-degree can opener. Like default 60 degrees for me. You really do need to just get all of that, I call it gumph, all of that kind of stuff that's just trying to impress you out of your side image, mono your low end, and just contain it and have an image that you could mix on. In regards to mixing, I did try and do I did try them when I was doing a few mixes, and there's an element of translation in there. I've got the detail there, I've got the timbre in there. The low end is still workable. The transient details are there. It was just, the imaging is pretty good. It's just I remember I was listening to one of my reference tracks that I use for imaging, and it's a song called Hella Good by No Doubt. Spike Stent mixed it. And there's a bit with the breaths which goes, and she the pan them left and right. There was elements where I could feel it skipping a little bit. It was still pretty accurate, but for £700, I would expect Sundara imaging where it's very, very tight and it's very, very accurate from the left to right. So it's not going to be something that's going to really, really muck up your mixes, but it isn't as accurate as I would like. So we've talked about, again, distortion. We didn't really talk about distortion, but it is very low distortion, Emrah, isn't it? I know we said EQ handling, but even in the top end and the mid-range, again, very, very, very low distortion.
Very good distortion level.
Very good distortion levels. And even when pushed loud, as Emrah said, you need to kind of push them quite hard to get them slamming. So even at those levels, he's not pushing into too much distortion as well.
Yeah.
Quite important.
And the depth-wise, as you said, the depth is impressive.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, it's front to back. I mean, we have test files, front, back. It's like jumping, front and back. It's perfect. Depth is great. And like I said, these are maybe, these are not maybe the perfect mixing headphones for $700. But if somebody is a sound designer,
that's
working
a good point.
working on a film music, film editing, dialogue editing, and stuff like that, these could be the end game headphones for such work, sound design. Because it's the resolution on the details is incredible to me. When I listen to them, I get lost in the details.
Yeah,
and maybe that would be a perfect option for people who want to edit videos and design, sound design, and everything on headphones. But mixing wise, I get them translate perfectly. But that's coming from the experience as well, my experience as well. People who purchase them, maybe they have to give them at least a few months, try and fail. And then once they start working on them to get them translate, they won't go back. These are pretty good headphones. I'm loving them. And these are keeper for me.
Now, obviously, this is the great thing about this channel, is that we are our own people and our own mixers. I'm going to take the opposite approach. And again, I don't know, it's like something with FIIO. I didn't like the FT1 Pro. And the hard thing with FT7 is that it's workable. And as Emrah said, you can learn the sound. It's just not a sound that works consistently well with the other references that I have. If I listen to those compared to the MX4s, the Sparna, and another, I won't mention it yet because it's going to be quite a big headphone. It's a budget headphone, very, very, very budget. We think is like going to really cause a stir. Again, I listened to that and there's a level of consistency there. The FT7 is just too airy sounding for me. It focuses on the top end, and it's difficult for me to get that top end to sit right in the EQ because it's having enough details in there without over-dulling it and to messing with your translation. Stage and depth-wise, it's just a little bit too far back with me, and there's no way I can bring it forward more to me. Emrah is somebody that does quite like a stage. Again, he likes to feel that he's got something in front of him, because again, that's like the opposite of, say, like a closed back design, like your Bear, say like your Bear DT770, where, like the vocals like in your head, and that's what you need crossfeed for, to kind of make things, take out the width and to kind of bring the vocal out your head a little bit. Where these are very, very, very different, very, very sat back, good stage. But to make them work, you are going to need, again, the EQ, you are going to need a sub boost. I think if you are sensitive to the top end and you're distracted by, top end frequencies, you are going to need to EQ quite a lot of top end down, and that's going to be to taste. You are going to need to get crossfeed, and again, you might need to, play about with the crossfeed to what works well with you, because obviously we hear things differently in regards to what kind of imaging and stage we think is realistic to speakers. So again, 60 degrees is what works for me on them. You might go up to 90. You might think that works for you. So there are workarounds. It's just that for £700, considering that we do have the Sundaras as an all-rounder, it's very difficult for me to recommend them for mixing when I know I personally would rather mix on Sundara. For listening, even still, it's like I like things quite forward sounding. HE1000 SE has the best balance of everything for me, where it's immersive, but it's like still like a pair of speakers in front of you and the vocal's still forward, where the stage and the depth is maybe a little bit too far back from me. So if somebody was to ask me, would I recommend them? I'd say I wouldn't personally choose to mix on them, but I know you could make them work, which is why in my rating, I'm going to give them a B, because they are honest. They remind me of the Ananda Nanos, where the honesty is there. It's just that there are a few workarounds that you need to think about to make them work. Emrah has made them work. he can mix, he can master on them. Again, experience. That's something that I don't have that he has. A lot of times what people don't really take into consideration is that the experience of the mixer is really the key to the end translation. That's why Emrah can mix on such a variety of different things, is because he's got that trained ear. For somebody that's new to the game and looking for something that is going to kind of help them in their journey, I still probably would recommend something like a Hyphaman Sindara for me. Again, it's not got the audiophile nature of the stage. It's not got the details of the top end micro details. Again, see if you love PSIs, these are your headphones. Honestly, if you're like a PSI lover, these are the headphones to get with it, because I think they'll go very well. But yeah, I'm going to give them a B, Emrah. Honest. I don't think it's limited translation, because you can make them work and there's workarounds around it. It's just that they aren't really for me, but I could imagine other people liking it and being able to make it work. What would be your grading for this headphone?
Yeah, I would say if you want to EQ the dust on your cymbals and snares, the dust, that you forget to clean, that level of details I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to guess which cigarettes somebody's smoking, from his voice, that level of details I'm talking about with these, they are incredible. But as I said, these could be a pretty tiresome for newbies. But if you are experienced, if you mixed on headphones for a long time or a few years back, these maybe surprise you. And I'm going to rate them anyway, as you said, B. They are workable. I wouldn't call them all-rounder, because if I rate them all-rounder, it should be even newbies could be able to use them.
Yeah, that's a good point, Emrah.
Newbies, when they wear them, they're gonna get lost in the sound.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%. And that's something that's very important to remind yourself. Again, don't take the term newbies as a bad thing. Like, most of you watching this channel are newbies and are looking for that experience, and that's why we decided to make this channel. If you've got an experienced ear, as I said, again, I think even Genelec users would quite like these, because again, Genelec's going to have quite airy top end. PSI users would like it. And again, if you are somebody that maybe has a bit of a recessed top end and struggles to hear the top end details and tracks, this is the headphone for you. If you're somebody that really needs top end details, I would 100% recommend the FT7 over any other headphone.
Can we say, like we say, the owner of the low end is nanos, right? These are the opposite.
These are owner of the top end.
Owner of the top end. It's just dusty sound,
which completely distracts me, because I'm like, oh my God, why am I hearing every detail of that cymbal and that hi-hat? And it's like, oh no, it's too much for me. Even reverb tails and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is too much. This is way too much.
You breathe air and the sunrise, sunshine comes in the house and you see all the dust and shit. Yeah. And you for a second you're like, I should stop breathing, right?
Yeah, that's all I see when I listen to them.
That's the detail I'm talking about. That's the detail I'm talking about.
So I think that as Emrah said, I think they could be an A for the right person, but on average, this is going to be a B. And I don't think it's the best headphone to advise people that are starting out looking to get a sound that they can trust on other systems, because there's no speaker that sounds like this. And that's one of the reasons why I know my sound, and I know my sound in terms of what I want and what I expect. And when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, this is sound design, probably be a good way, as Emrah said, that just don't sound the way that I want them to sound. So again, it could be a preference thing, but yeah, I'd say B is a very good rating for them, because they are honest. Just a little bit too honest for an autistic guy with like sensory top end issues. But price-wise, Emrah, we'll finish on the price. Do you think genuinely that £700 is the right price? for FT7.
£700 is the right price for those experienced people who has been mixing for a couple of years or back. Because for starters, they're going to struggle for a couple of months, and they may hate them.
Yep.
But once you learn them, if you're patient and you learn them, you will feel that you will never need another headphones. That's how I look at them at the moment. These are keeper for me.
Yeah, it's like a pair of speakers. Every pair of speakers is different. I know many people that love Neumanns. I know many people that despise Neumanns. I know many people that love PSIs, and there's people like me that hate the PSIs. And there's people that love NS10s, and there's most people that hate NS10s. Everything is very, very to taste. And even with NS10s, look at all the people that did learn like horrible sound. People learn to mix on it. So this isn't an NS10. It's a very pleasant sounding headphone. I do like to listen to songs on it when I've dulled all the top end and stuff. But yeah, for mixing, I would just say not the right headphone. Maybe too audiophile. Maybe just not the right fit for me. But yeah, if you try them, again, let us know in the comments down below. And if you are looking to get more information on mixing on headphones, there is our Discord, which is now over 100 members. I think we're like 112 members now. Every week it just keeps on building and building and building. I've got so many different channels and subtopics in there, and I'm breaking it down all the time so it's less overwhelming for people. So if you want to try and get information, it is all there, and over time I'm building more subcategories so people could more easily find stuff and find all the information that you get. The guys on there, and unfortunately it is all guys just now. Hopefully we might get a female in there one day. But the guys on there are really great, really supportive. You can share your mixes on there. You can get feedback. And again, you can ask a question. And again, everybody is really good, and they'll share certain bits of stuff they've seen before. They'll pin things to you, forward things. So yeah, if you're interested in getting in amongst the headphone community that Emrah is on as well, become a channel member of this channel, and you'll get a link to the Discord via email. And yeah, live your best life on headphones. So yeah, there you go. That's the FT7 review done. My name's Paul Third. That's Emrah Celik. And we will see you next week on MixPhones.